Hey gun people, gonna do a couple videos here. First one's gonna be, I've been trying to get to it for a while, is what's really hard. I've got this in the shade against the wall to block the wind, and the sun is washing out, so I can't really, I tried to make sure, hopefully I'm in there. I put my coffee down here as a marker kind of on where I should be. I was out here doing a little shooting, doing a little work with the chucks. I'm going to be doing a video later for those who either want to use the chucks or to show you how the police are trained with them, using locking wrist, swinging. I'm about to teach a class on the nunchucks, so I've been carrying around so I can kind of get used to it and working out and make sure my my muscle memory is still there. So I stand around and do this when I'm watching TV, moving, just practicing the different holds and stops. So I'll get into all that later on how the nunchucks are used. But what I want to talk, and I think bounty hunters, well, if they're trained with them, I'm pretty sure they can use them. I don't know if only peace officers can carry these in some states. I know California, Colorado, and there's other states that lets cop carry it. I forgot the name of this, Orca, O-R-C-U, I think T-T or something. If you look it up, please find OPN. Google OPN and you'll get it. So anyway, that'll be a later video. So I got a few questions. Fall's coming, the wind's blowing, it's nice out here. A little hot. I got moisture on the scarf, keep my neck warm, and drinking warm coffee. So let's talk about bounty hunters. Bounty hunters, in the other video I talked about the different law enforcement jurisdictions and how it goes to the attorneys and how, you know, the DA is a final charging authority. And if I arrest somebody and I say he committed assault with a deadly weapon, robbery, burglary, and 400 felonies, when the DA reviews that report, the DA is the charging authority. He gets to decide what the guy is charged for. The guy may be arrested for all those charges. He may have to post bail based on those charges, but the DA gets to decide which ones he's going to charge and which ones he's not going to charge. And he bases that on, normally, can I get a conviction or public opinion? Those are the two main things. But he should base it on which one do I have the most facts that I think I can convince a jury on, that I can get a conviction, and what's the right thing to do, and did the guy commit these crimes and he may get off, but he still needs to be charged and face some music. So, and vice versa. If I arrest somebody and only charge him with assault, the DA may review the charges, review the statements and everything, and go, hey, you know what? I'm charging him with aggravated assault. I'm charging him assault with a deadly weapon. I'm charging him with regular assault, battery. I mean, the DA can add charges as well. So a lot of times as a cop, when we just PC somebody, we just got enough probable cause to get him off the streets, in the jail, and in the system. Then the case starts on whether or not what we're going to charge him for and how we're going to charge him. With bounty hunters, remember, a lot of people think that the rights we have protects us against other citizens. But the constitutional rights we have, the Fifth Amendment, all that, is protection against the government. It's to keep the government in check. It's to keep the government restrained. So when you have bounty hunters who are not the government chasing someone and going after them with a bounty on their head, that's when you get into issues about what they need to do and required to do. A lot of people think a bounty hunter, because they have badges, it says bail agent, they'll call them bounty hunter, bail agents, whatever. There's different names for them. Their authority could be very different depending on where they're at, depending on their training and expertise. Some bounty guy may just hire somebody and say, go get him, you're my agent, and I got insurance, use all means and go get him. He's kind of opened himself liability, but depending on who he's chasing and how much the bail is. The bail agent is responsible for the bail. If I go to jail and the system cannot work without bail agents. People are always like, those bounty hunters, they're out of control. We should do away with them. We should outlaw them. We should just let the cop. And some states have done that pretty much. The whole purpose of the bail agent was to relieve the government of some of the responsibility of chasing all the people and not keeping the jail system and the court system tied up with people in jail where they can't get out of jail. If bounty hunters went away, people would not be able to bail out of jail, which means the system would come to a screeching halt because you'd have all these people in jail waiting for their hearings, etc., etc., and it would just, I mean, the amount of crime out there, most people have no clue on how bad it is. So bail agents are a necessary evil. They do good. There's good bail agents and bad bail agents, just like there's good cops and bad cops. There's good and bad lawyers. There's good and bad. I don't know if there's any good politicians. But most things are good and bad. So when you understand that a bail agent is not hired by the government, but is authorized by the government. So can you go out and just be a bounty hunter? Can you say, technically you can. You might get sued and you might get in trouble, but you can go to the courthouse, get a list of who's wanted, who's jumped bail, and who has warrants out. You can get that list. You can go to a bail agent and say, hey, do you have anybody out on bail? I'd like to go catch some of your guys who are on bail. And they may say, this guy's on jail, etc. You don't work for me, but if you bring him in, I'll pay you, or you'll get 10%, or you'll get a bonus or whatever. Now, are most bail guys going to, you're getting in very iffy territory. Does it happen? Absolutely it happens. But you're getting in iffy because when a bail agent kind of makes you his agent, he's kind of liable for what you do. So if you go out and shoot up the town and say, hey, I work for bail's bond so-and-so, he's going to go, hey, he didn't work for me, we don't have a contract, he's not on the payroll, he asked me on who I was wanted, I told him this guy was wanted, if he found I might help him out. And then you would get into the legal dispute on whether or not he's working for him. So what authority does a bail agent have that a regular citizen doesn't have? They have quite a bit of authority over the person they're chasing. The key there, and a lot of bail agents abuse this, and they go overboard, and they don't follow this. And a lot of them do. So as a citizen, not a government official, not a cop, not working for the government, not being directed by the government. Remember I talked about in other videos when you become an agent of the government. If I'm a cop and I go, hey, come over here and help me arrest this guy. I've just endorsed you as an agent of the government, and now I'm responsible for what you do to this guy. So if you pull out a gun and shoot this guy, I'm going to be like, hey, I never told him to do that. I just asked him for help to arrest him. So there's going to be an argument. Was he acting as a government agent when he shot this guy? Technically, he was. Once I kind of empower you, and I think they used to call it posse comitatus, is where I just seize people and go, hey, under this rule, I'm authorizing you to act as a peace officer. You're my deputy. Get over here. Kind of like the old posse when a deputy would grab a posse. He deputizes all these guys and we go chase the bad guy. Well, legally today you can still do that. As a cop, I can walk in a place, and in California and in most states, if I tell you to help me and you don't, that's a crime. You can be arrested. So if you're standing around while I'm fighting this guy and I say, hey, get over here and help me, and you don't, when other cops show up, I can go arrest him. He failed to obey an order and he failed to help me when I told him. And he'll be arrested. And he'll go to court and he'll go to jail, and he probably won't get convicted. And the DA may or may not charge him, depending on his seriousness, depending on whether he should have, whether he could have. You know, if I ask a little old lady in her 80s, say, get over here and help me fight this guy, she goes, you're crazy, sonny. I ain't helping you. Obviously, she's not going to get charged. She's going to say, look, it's too dangerous for her to fight with this guy. But if I get an able-bodied male who's standing there, who's rooting in charge of, kick his ass, man, screw the cops, get over here and help me, and he doesn't, he's going to jail. But he becomes my agent when I tell him to come help me. A bail agent, bail bondsman, bounty hunter, whatever you want to call it, they are not the agent of the government. Even though they have extra access, they get to know the warrant, they post the bail, they work with the government to get this guy out of jail, they are not considered an agent. Therefore, they do not have to comply with policy of police departments, they don't have to comply with use of force, they don't have to comply with probable cause, they don't have to comply with reading you your Miranda rights. All the things that cops have to do to you when they arrest you or go into your house, bail agents do not have to do. But remember, it's specific to the person they're chasing. Now this is where it gets iffy. When you bail out of jail, and I've used bail agents to help, you know, when I'm looking for somebody, I always go to who posted bail and say, dude, give me all the stuff. And the bail agents are like, hey man, can we get him? Or if you let us catch him, we get a commission or whatever. When you catch him, I'll be like, hey man, I'll call you and tell you where he's at. And if you want to take him, I don't mind working with you. If he's not a dangerous guy and I find him, I'll call the bail agent and go, dude, I got your guy, he's over here. You want to come get him? And they'll be like, oh yeah, or I got some guy that told me your guy is at this house if you want to go check. Oh, cool, thanks. So I've worked with bail agents, but they're not my agent. It's a very fine line of when they become my agent. Now, a bounty hunter, when you go in and you sign for bail, you have to give your addresses, and they can ask you anything, you got to provide it. Next of kin, all your siblings, everybody you know, who's your friends that you've known for 10 years, every place you've lived in the last 10 years. Let me see your cell phone records. I want to know your cell phone. I want to know who you call. They can ask whatever they want, because if you jump bail, they want to have as much information as they can to find you and to make it easy on them. So that information is golden for cops, because we can't ask all that when we go to jail. We can't get into a lot of personal stuff and get all that information. We can run you in the system. We can run your driver's license. We can run a credit history. We can run all the things about the government has, but we can't ask you a bunch of questions that the government doesn't have. I mean, we could probably ask you, but you could tell us go to hell. So when a bail agent gets all this information, they have a file on you, so when you jump bail, it's easy to find. Well, as a cop, if you're ever chasing somebody that jumps bail, your first stop ought to be the bail agent that posted the bail. And they ought to cooperate. Some of them will get a little iffy and not want to give you the info. And I'll be like, dude, this guy jumped bail, I've already got charges. I'll either go get a subpoena or I'll go get a search warrant, I'll come back and I'll take a shit. So if they have an attitude, a cop can go, look, I was asking nicely and I want to cooperate, but if you want to be a dick, I'll come back and take the shit. So, oh, government bootleg, you cops are all this, whatever. I'm just telling you the way it is. That's what's going to happen. So that ought to be your first stop, is to go to the bail agent and say, yo, man, I need to see the file on this guy. And most of them will run you a copy, they'll print it out, they'll go, no, because they want him in custody too, because then they don't lose their bail. But a lot of them want to make sure their guys get him in custody. So when you list your address, bail agents can kick a door, go in, no probable cause, no nothing, at the person they're chasing's residence. And that's the key that they kind of bully their way in a lot of places. I mean, I've gotten calls a lot of times for people that go like, man, I just had 2 bail agents come in, they destroyed my house, they threw me on the ground, I want to press charges. It's like, hey, guy lived here. When he posted bail, you knew he lived here. And the bail agent checked with you and asked if he lived there. And so now it's confirmed that this is his address. Guess what? They can come kick your door as many times as they want, day or night, whenever they want. Because you allowed them to give you this address, and you allowed a parolee or guy that you know was going to run on your house. And you put your house up for bail, you're done. The bail agent pretty much owns your house. They can do whatever they want to that property because you put it up. Now they cannot, if I'm friends with Billy Bob and Billy Bob jumps bail and he called me, they can't come kick my door and search for Billy Bob, because that's not where Billy Bob lives. Now, can they watch the house? Can they see a person that looks like Billy Bob that came in my house? Gets a little iffy. It gets iffy because they can be in hot pursuit. They can say, hey, we got to arrest this guy. We know he's got a felony warrant. Technically what they should do, call the cops. We got a felony warrant on this guy. He jumped bail. We just saw him go in this house. It's not his residence. We want you guys to come get him. And then the cops will come knock on the door. Hey, we believe there's a felony in here. Is so-and-so in here? No. Do you mind if we search? No. Fuck you. Go get a warrant. No problem. Watch the house. Go get a warrant. Hey, we have reason to believe that this person who was a convicted felon on the run was witnessed by bail agents who went in the house and watched this house. We have the house secured. We believe the suspect may be in the house. Judge, we need a warrant to go kick this door and search this house. No problem. Go forth. Cause havoc. Judge signs it. We're off. So that's what should happen. Now, what a lot of bail agents do is screw that. They're just going to kick the door because they've kind of got not really immunity, but there's a very large umbrella of tolerance that the government gives bail agents. So they're allowed to do a lot of things. And one of the things they do a lot is bully their way in other places. Hey, we're looking for this guy. We got a phone call. We got a cell phone bill, and it said he called here 2 days ago. Is he in the house? No. Well, we're coming in and check because he's on jail. They kind of push him out of the way and make entry. And homeowner kind of lets them in. And they're pissed. They call us afterwards, and we're like, hey, did you try to stop him? Well, no, they told me they had a felony warrant. I didn't have a choice. Hey, you didn't stop them and tell them no, and you let them in. There's nothing we can do. So, do bail agents have this real unaccountable authority? I never watched, I might have watched parts of that Dog, the Body Hunter. I couldn't deal with his wife too much. She was a pain in the ass. I couldn't watch that show. So I haven't really watched them to evaluate kind of, you know, a lot of that Hollywood, they get all these guys, they run around, they do certain things, and he's always preaching to people. So I've watched a few short snippets of it, I wasn't really into it. So I don't know if they're following the law or not. Again, they're working out of, I think, Hawaii. If I'm not, I don't know if it's Oahu or the Big Island or all, I don't know. But wherever they're working, it's their state laws. So each state law is different. I think either Washington or somewhere, they've kind of said we don't allow bounty hunters. Now, it's against the law for you or me as a citizen to put a bounty on someone's head. We can't do it. Government can do it. We can't do it. So, because they don't want people, you know, if somebody kidnaps my kid, I know who did it, and I think the cops aren't doing anything and they don't care. I can't go put $10,000 reward for this guy. Now, I can work with the agency and the DA and maybe get them to post a reward or up an award for information leading to, but as a private citizen, you can't, and I forgot the wording, it may be, you can't put a bounty on someone's head, like dead or alive. They don't have that anymore, dead or alive. It means the same. If a violent fleeing felon is out there, believe me, if Osama bin Laden was alive and I saw his ass and there was still that $1 million bail on his head, I'd have shot him. No questions asked. If I knew it was him, it's done. So, is there still wanted dead or alive? The government can, people can't. There's been this long transition since our government evolved that government has seized power inch by inch, year by year, decade by decade, and now they have all this power and authority that was never intended for the government. Our country was founded on limiting government, keeping government small and out of the people's business. Allow free market, allow people to prosper without the interference or, messing of government. They wanted government out. That's why we left where we came from, because government was taxing everything. Now we get taxed more than the country we left. It's crazy. I can't believe how the American people have just went away from how this country was developed and how it started, and which is why it's going downhill. When government was less and it was restricted and it was small and the people ran things, our economy, our strength, our power, everything went up. Everything, prosperity, home, everything went up when government was out. Over time, more and more government has got involved, and now the more government gets involved, everything goes down. Poverty, unemployment, everything. It's so simple to me, and you talk to a stinking libertard, and they don't have a clue. They're, everybody needs free medical, and everybody needs free this, and the government should do that. The government shouldn't do shit. They need to stay out of it, mind their own damn business, and worry about important shit like securing our borders and protecting our military. But I digress. Sorry. Bounty hunters. On the person they're chasing, they pretty much have carte blanche. And the trigger that causes that is they sign away and they enter into a contract giving up their civil rights and liberties to this bond agent. They basically say to the bond guy, I have no rights, I have no right to privacy, I waive all my rights to false imprisonment, to beating, to everything. I waive everything, that if I jump bail and you post my bail, I assure you, you have a right to do any and all means to catch me. Again, for them, not to people around them. Now, there was a case that we worked where the bail agents went in. I mean, they just trashed this old man, threw him on the ground. He was bleeding, tried to stop him from coming in his house, tore up his house. He was pissed. He called the cops. The cops came and were like, you know what, we're going to refer it to the DA, because they were pissed off. The people that live in there were just like, this is bullshit. These guys shouldn't have the right to come in and beat the shit out of me in my house. You know what? You shouldn't have let your parolee, bail jumping son live there. So, because your son signed a waiver of rights, you really got no rights. If they come in here looking for him, he signed away his rights that they can come in here whenever they want. So they had a right to be here, and if you interfered with that right or tried to stop them and they beat your ass, good luck. So they referred it to the DA. The DA looked at it and went, I ain't charging this shit. They were bail agents, the bail guy. And again, you got to realize, if they beat up some third party that had nothing to do with it, and it was a decent family who wasn't involved in criminal activity, who didn't raise a criminal son, who wasn't always making excuses for their criminal son, who always wasn't bailing him out of jail and putting up their house and getting him out of jail so he can go commit more crimes. If it was what I call a righteous family, then it may have been charged. But because his family was the same and, you know, enabling type family that just kept getting their son in trouble, hey, don't come to us. There's a thing in civil court that's called coming to court with clean hands. You can't do dirty and illegal stuff and then when it goes bad, come to court and go, this is against the law, they ripped me off. I can't claim fraud if I'm selling drugs and a guy pays me in counterfeit money. I can't go to court and sue him and say, hey, he gave me counterfeit money, because my hands aren't clean. I was selling drugs, I was doing illegal activity, therefore I can't claim protection of the law on that. I wish they would do that in criminal court, but they don't. But they do it in civil court. So, bounty hunters, do they have this extra given power? Are they like government? No. They're better than government for the guy's house or for the guy that they're chasing, because there's no rules. Okay, now, do they still have to comply with reasonable and necessary force? Yes. But again, the government gives them this umbrella of protection because they know they need bail agents, and if we make it too tough for bail agents, bail companies go, screw you, we're not going to chase the guys, we're not bailing people out, you can keep them in jail, you can pay for it, and we're not going to help you. And then the government will be screwed. So the government is like doing it, believe me, the government ain't doing it because it's the right thing or it's a good thing. They're doing it for their own benefit. Government never does things because of right or wrong, they do it for their own benefit. So the only reason they allow bail agents helps them. As soon as bail agents don't help them, bail agents will be gone. So that's the good and the bad of bail agents. You know, hopefully I covered it all. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them. I'm not trying to make the bail agents look bad. I'm not trying to make them look great. I'm just telling you that they're a necessary evil. They're just like cops. Right now, they've taken away, cops are getting killed left and right. They've made cops scared to shoot people. They made cops scared to use reinforcement. They've made cops scared and worried about protecting themselves. So cops are doing less and less. So crime is going up because everybody's making these lies, and the liberal media is putting all this shit about black people are running around getting shot for no freaking reason because they're outside drinking coffee. Okay? If I painted myself black and was out here right now, no cops would be coming over here shooting me. Now, if I paint myself black and I go rob a bank and they shoot me, and then I claim it's because I'm black, and idiots who listen to the media believe that shit, well, then you would think there's this big problem. But unfortunately, the Muslim terrorist traitorous president we have right now is making it easy for this to go on, and so now cops are pulling back, and cops are doing less, and they're not willing to risk their safety and their livelihood to go after bad guys. So bad guys are becoming empowered. So they're killing cops, they're doing more crime. They're getting away with things they shouldn't be getting away with because of cops. And that's the problem when the government do not protect their enforcers or the cops out there. When you don't protect them and give them some sort of protection, they won't do that to lawyers because the whole system will shut down. Nobody will charge, you know, lawyers have a huge lobbying and they'll never shit on the lawyers. They'll shit on cops left and right. But lawyers have this bond protection, they're all in charge, they're all part of the brotherhood, they all got their little bar card, they're in the chosen group. So you never hear them slamming or coming down on lawyers, trying to clean up lawyers, saying we're tired of lawyers lying. You never hear of lawyers getting arrested for lying, helping their client, blah, 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 violating, whatever. You just don't hear it because they are the protected class. Aristotle said kill all the lawyers if you ever want to get your country back, or something to that effect, and I agree with him. Lawyers are the biggest evil out there. But, you know, if you talk to other people, it's the mean white cop who are killing poor black guys out there drinking coffee, making videos. All right, we'll end that there.